breakfast. 13 minutes past 6 now. It's one of the most iconic mountains in Wales, but is it as high as we thought? A group of enthusiasts set out for the summit of Tryfan today in Snowdonia to measure it as accurately as possible. If it turned out to be less than 3,000 feet, then it was facing relegation from the elite league of Welsh mountains. Our reporter Christian has been to the top with the measuring team. He's now back with me in the studio. So, how high is Tryfan, Chris?
Oh, let me tell you in just a moment. Well, I can tell you though that the team of mountain measurers are now down from the top of the mountain. They've been sitting in front of their computers for most of the afternoon, processing the data they gathered at the summit from an object which looks like a side plate on a stick. It's basically a posh version of the sat-nav you might find in a car. Off for a walk in the hills. But these men aren't just going to climb a mountain. They're off to measure it. And when they come down, it might be a different height to when they went up.
Okay, and the spare cables we've still got to get. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Good.
The maps say Tryfan is 915 metres high, which puts it in the elite league of mountains over 3,000 foot. Just. But it's never been measured that accurately until now. Mark Greaves is from the Ordnance Survey.
Most of the heights that you see on the maps that you might use when you're out walking were positioned using aerial photography, kind of late 60s, early 70s. And the limit of that technique is that the height is probably good to 3 or 4 metres. It could be quite a few feet either side. So with now the GPS technology, it's relatively easy once you've climbed up here to measure it much more accurately.
Very top one. Very top one.
Connecting the antenna?
Yeah.
John Barnard and Graham Jackson measure mountains as a hobby. They've spent thousands of pounds on high-tech satellite kit, which works a bit like a posh version of the sat-nav you might find in a car. Graham Jackson says it's like hill walking, but even more fun.
The excitement to me is knowing that we can measure the summit of a mountain to within a few centimetres of accuracy, and that you can do that reproducibly. And measurement science just gives me a big kick.
He's not the only one who gets a little bit of a kick out of Tryfan. It's the rocky slopes of the mountain makes it quite special for mountain walkers, because did you know it's one of only a few mountains in Britain where you have to scramble with your hands to get to the top. I've certainly found that out today.
Yeah, you can't not, can you?
Absolutely. Up to now, of course, also one of the 15 mountains in Wales over 3,000 feet, the Elite League, and I should probably stop keeping you in suspense. We can now reveal it still is, as the surveyors spent this afternoon number crunching, and the mountain has not been relegated. It is in fact slightly higher than what it says on the maps. It's gone up a little bit to 3,010 feet or 917.5 metres. Now I asked the team what they thought and they were hugely relieved because they were actually quite keen for it not to slip out the list of the highest mountains. The best bit of course being that now it's been accurately measured, no one can challenge its position either.
Excellent. If you're not sure which Tryfan is, it's the one with a rather jagged profile when you look at it sideways.
Somebody said it actually looks like a proper mountain because unlike lots of the other mountains in Snowdonia, it didn't have its top knocked off by the Ice Age all those years ago, so it's all spiky.
And it's got 2 big standing stones at the top, Adam and Eve, and if you're very clever you can jump from one to the other. Did you?
No, because the measuring stick actually was there, and had I jumped across I'd have ruined all the data.
That's your excuse. Thank you. That's Christian.
You wouldn't want to land on the measuring stick from jumping from one to the other.
That's for sure.
He wouldn't have been giving us that report, that's for sure. Now, Australia